Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 15 of budget crafting. So a couple of weeks ago on my Journaling on a Budget series, Janice asked me if I could show how to make the jigsaw puzzle stamps that I had made that I was using in that series. And then Amanda asked me if I could show how I made the musical stamps, the musical notes and staffs and everything that I made that we used on that same series, because she wanted to know how to do the fine lines. So I thought that I would go ahead and I would do them both here today. And so there are a few tips and tricks that I have here that might be helpful for you. So on the fine line stamps, what you need to do, I use my guillotine cutter. Now you can cut them with scissors, you can cut them with I'm not sure I've never tried the kind of roller cutters to cut fun foam, but I would guess that it would work. But the thing is, when you're working with something where you're trying to make a very skinny line, your fun foam is really skinny. So then you're going to cut a really skinny line. But no matter what, the thickness of this fun foam all the way through is the same depth. If you cut a line and you don't know which part of that line is your depth like this and which part of your line is your width like this, because if you cut it really fine, it's hard to tell. And you need to make sure that you use the same depth of your fun foam for every one of the lines that you're using. So what I do is I go ahead and I just mark my fun foam. Now this is usually what I glue to the bottom of my cardboard. I glue this upside down when I'm done. So this is the side that stamps. But then I know if I've got a mark on my fun foam, when I flip it, when I glue it down, I know that this is the depth that every single one of those lines is going to be. So then I don't normally, when I do my lines, I don't really measure them, but you can measure them, however thin you want them to be. I just kind of push it up to the edge and then I just slide it over a little bit. Go ahead and hold it down, keep your hands out of the way, and cut slowly. So this is what I'm talking about. Is this the side of my fun foam, or is that the top or the bottom? Is that the side or the top or the bottom? This we know. This is the top of the fun foam. So this is going to get glued. Well, it's going to be the bottom. That's going to get glued to my cardboard. And now I know that this thickness of the fun foam is going to be exactly the same as any other one that I glue down the same way. And so I just go through and I just cut some. This one I was able to cut thinner. Not able to, but I did cut it. This one is thinner than this one is. So, and with this one, when you're looking at it this way, that's very thin and that's very thin. Which one is the top and which one is the side? That's why you need to have those marks on there when you're cutting a thin line, so that you know for sure that your depth when you start gluing them down is going to be the same for all of them. Because if it's not the same when you go to stamp with it, your stamping won't work well. So that is how I cut fine lines. And like I said, if you want to go through and measure to make sure that they're all exactly the same width, you can do that. So now we have a stack of those. We'll set that aside and get this out of the way. And then what you're going to do is just use, this is some cardboard that came out of a picture frame that I had used for something else, and so I kept the cardboard. So you're just going to want something nice and solid to glue it to glue your stamps to, no matter what they are. And so we'll just look at these, and we'll just kind of pick a few of them that maybe are about, so that is those look about the same. With this one's kind of wide, this one's pretty close. And like I said, if I had measured them and made them all exactly the same, but you never know what you're going to use them for. So, and let's see, we need, every good boy deserves fudge. We need 5 of them. Okay, so then we can use this one for the end. And what I normally do is, okay, I'm going to decide how big I want to make this stamp and cut my cardboard. I can always cut it down a little bit more later, but I want to have it approximately the size that I want. So let's do it about like that. All right, so to start with, I'm going to use this one as my up and down line, and then the other ones will go this way. And the way that I do it, if I can get this off here, is I pretty much put glue on my whole cardboard, because they're too small to try and put the glue on them, and you don't want the glue going all over your stamp, because the glue is kind of a resist for your ink. So if you get the glue on the top of your stamp, the part where the ink is going to be, that could actually make it so that the ink doesn't want to stick to that spot. You can always, though, if you find that you have a spot where you've got glue on it, when it's dry, you can, kind of go in and wipe it off. So there we go. And then I just decide how I want to do it. Now, you can draw things out first, or you can just kind of wing it. I usually just kind of like to wing it, but it all, just depends on what I'm making. When I did the treble clef, that one, I drew it out, then I flipped the paper over and used that as my design, because you have to remember that stamps need to be backwards. So I'm going to put one at each end, but I'm going to go ahead and do the last one when I'm done. Then I'm not trying to fit my lines in between the 2 ends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line these all up, making sure that I know where my bottom is. Just going to line these up like this. And I want them to be pretty close, because I want to put on the other end, I want to put the other bar. So I'm going to kind of cut these right here, let's say. Put those aside, and then I'm going to take these and just put them on there, making sure, where's my lines? There's my lines. Put that one on the bottom. And then you just want to make sure that you want to make sure they don't twist. And then find my lines, put one in the middle. And when I make my own stamps, I'm normally not worried about whether they're perfect or not. That's totally up to you. I could have drawn lines on there to make sure I got them all exact. Here's my bottom. And the only reason that I put my marks on the bottom, number one, because I don't want to see them. And number two, because if I had drawn kind of heavy with the pen or pencil, that could have made a dent in my fun foam. And if you put a dent in your fun foam, it will show up in your stamping. That's part of the cool part about fun foam, is you can, make dents and marks in it and use it as a stamp that way, because those dents will stay there. Now you can kind of heat fun foam, like with a heat gun, carefully, so that you don't melt it, and that will kind of help raise those dents out of it if you get some dents you don't want. Or if you make a stamp that you really don't like, you can also kind of heat it to take the dents out, if they're not ones that are really, really heavily put in there. Okay, so there we've got that. I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut it right there. That's about right. Put that on there. Just kind of line it all up. And you can even use this to make, like I use string to make journaling stamps for writing, but you could use something like this to do that. So now we have like the clef, or, and I don't know what you call that, but whatever you call that, we've got it. So, and if you want to shape something, you know, all you do is you just decide what you want to do, and then you just, let's try a circle. I'm going to turn it over and try that again. And whenever you're drawing around something, if you're trying to draw a circle, remember, if you're holding your pen on an angle and kind of going under that circle, you have to do that all the way around. Don't hold it on an angle there, and then when you get here, bring it up straight, because then instead of going under, you'll be going right straight down, and it will move where your pen should be. So let's try this circle. So we're just going to, and obviously I didn't need that much glue, because really I only need glue where the line is. I don't need it all over the whole thing. We're going to do that. And then we're just going to just take this and just bend it around, making sure that it doesn't twist. And that's why I spread the glue out really well, because it makes it tackier. It makes it a little bit dry faster. So, and what you can also do is just glue down just the very first part and let that dry. And then put glue all over the rest, because that part then will not move. And then you can go in and maneuver the rest of it. But that really gives you like an anchor to hold it down. Because until it really grabs well, you know, your fun foam, because you're shaping it, your fun foam may want to move. So we're just going to kind of hold that there. Make sure it looks about how we want it to look. And then see if I've got one that's about the same width as that one. That one's a little bit fat. And the thinner they are, the easier they are to mold around. Let's see, how about this one? That's closer. Okay, now that's kind of on a bit of an angle, so I'm going to, let's see, it's got to be wider at the top. Let's see if we can kind of fit that to meet a little better. And that didn't work very well. Gonna cut it right here. And put that on there like that. And you kind of get the gist. So now normally things like this, because they're fiddly, you know, you have to take your time to make sure that you get what it is that you want. It's a tool. It's a stamp that's going to last you a really long time if you take care of it. So go ahead and take your time getting it where you want it, versus just trying to hurry to get it done so you can try it, and then you really need to let them dry also. Now this is just too long. I need to take a piece of that out. Now hopefully I didn't take out too much. And again, I'm trying not to get much glue on my fingers as I'm doing this so that I don't get it all over the top of my stamp. And now the glue is getting tackier, so it's grabbing quicker, which is a good thing. And then once you get it where you think that it's really good and you want it to stay that way, and you get it kind of pressed into place, it still has its want to, you know, kind of pull away. So you can put a piece of parchment on top of it and then just set a little something. It doesn't have to be anything heavy. Could even be like a deck of cards or something. Just something to kind of hold it flat against the cardboard while it dries. And so there we go. Now on this one, because I didn't have a long enough piece to start with, will you see these marks? Probably you will. But what could I do? I could go ahead and I could just put marks every so often on the whole thing, and then those marks would, you know, just be part of the pattern. So if I was, you know, really paying attention, what I would have done was I would have taken a piece of this, put it around my bottle here, and then cut it, knowing that, you know, I would have taken it like this, put it around here, and then cut it right there, because then I would know that that's how long I needed it to be, you know, before I started putting it on here. But there we go. Okay, and I'm going to stop fussing with this because I tend to sometimes get a little bit OCD with this stuff. So, okay, so there we go. That's how you can shape them. You can shape them in any way, shape, or form. You know, you can go this way and this way and this way. Just remember to make sure that your marks, if you want them on the top, put them on the top. I put them on the bottom, but just remember that you keep your marks all on the top or on the bottom so that you know, because sometimes they'll want to like twist a little bit. And so you're doing this and then they twist. Well, if you wind up where you've got a spot where the marks are on the side, and then part of it's here and part of it's on the side, you've got it twisted, and that's not going to give you a good stamp. So that is how you do those. Now to make the little, the musical stamps, you just take a piece, or take a hole punch and punch some fun foam. Of course I would have set this up instead of setting it on its side, or setting it back in the glue holder. Okay, take a hole punch, punch fun foam, put a piece down there, and then what I do with my long parts is, because I know that it's not straight where it touches it, I'm going to cut just a little bit of an angle on that, so that when, cut this off right there, put a little bit of an angle on it so that when it comes up next to that, the little dot, see, it fits on there much better than if I had just left it straight. And then I just kind of push them together. And that's a little bit long still, so I'm going to take a piece of that off. And put that on there just like that. And there we go. And then if I want to go ahead and have the little flags that go on there, I'm going to put a little bit of an angle on this one. And just put it right on there like that. Which is, again, it's pretty long, but it is too long. Like I said, they last forever, so, you know, I hate to be just totally ignore when I know something's wrong when I'm making a tool, because if it's something I can fix, if I can't fix it, well, it is what it is. But if I can fix it, why not fix it so that it will look better when I use it, because I'm going to be able to use it for a long, long time. And so there we go. There's a musical note. And then I could just make another one out of this other little piece of paper. So that's how you make little bits of, that's how you make stamps with very thin lines. And again, the most important part is the lines that you make on your fun foam to make sure that you're all the same thickness. Music stamps are super easy to, the puzzle stamps are super easy. And these are the types that are super easy. The ones where the part comes out, those are not as easy, but they're still doable. And so for those, show you the simple one. First, you need a hole punch. Now this is a We Are Memories Keeper hole punch. And so you're just going to go just barely inside, just kind of past the, I'm losing it, just past the edge, and give it a stamp. And I usually push it 2 or 3 times because no punch likes to actually punch through the fun foam completely. So there we go. Now, is that exactly in the middle? It's not. When you look at puzzles, they're not exactly the same. They're not, well, every once in a while you'll get a puzzle where they're all exactly the same. Yeah, those puzzles are terrible to do because you can't even look at it and say, oh, I need one that's like longer on this part and shorter on this part. If they're all exactly the same, they will fit together no matter what, and that really, I don't like that. So I'm going to put this one even a little higher. I don't have to, but I'm going to just to make it look a little different. Okay, so there we go. 3 holes. This is a straight edge one. If you want to do the 4, if you want to do a 4-sided one, do 4 holes. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to come to the side, and you're just going to start a little bit above the hole and just kind of round it in like that. Then I flip it over because it's easier for me to cut this way is hard. So I'm just going to flip it over so I can cut this one from this side also. I'm just going to come in, kind of go just a little past the hole, and then round it back. And there we go. There's one part. And if you don't like it, you can trim it up a little bit. But then the other thing is, they're not the same. They're not all exactly perfect. Again, I'm going to come this side of the hole just a little bit, go towards the hole, and then come back to meet up, flip it over, start this side of the hole, go towards the hole, round it back to meet the edge, and then do the same thing here. Start on this side of the hole, go towards the hole, round it up and over till it meets, and here we go. Start down here, go up towards the hole, round it off, and there we go. There is your puzzle piece. Like I said, if you don't like it, you can fix it a little bit, but there is nothing, you know, with puzzles, they're not exactly the same. These are in different spots. They really kind of should be. So there we go. Now, the way to make one that has the outie instead of the innie. You need to go not so close to the edge. You need to go in farther. And don't put it in the middle. I'm going to see, this might be a little too far, but I'm going to put it all the way back to here. Okay, so punch a hole. Go over just a little bit. About the width of a hole maybe. And punch another one. Because all we're trying to do here is get this little bit, which is the bottom part of your outie. All right, so we're just going to come across to the hole on both sides, come across to this hole. Okay, and then to kind of get this all out of my way, I'm going to just kind of cut at an angle to get rid of that, because right here is going to be my rounded part. So I just want those out of my way. Now I'm going to come down here. This is like the neck of our outie. We're going to come around. Making sure that you go past, you want to go over there so you've got a round part past the neck of your outie. And there we go. So that's your already. Now see, it's a little too roundy here. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of make that meet up a little better. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Usually I get it like to the hole that I cut and then kind of like round up with it. And so there we go. Now, you know, we've got a little bit here we could take off, and you know, you can do them a little bit better when you have a little bit of time to do it. But do it like that, and then maybe we'll go ahead and put the hole in here. So we're going to come across here a little bit better. I'm going to come across here a little better too, because I just don't like the way that looks. There we go. Alrighty, now from here, yeah, that needs to be a little closer. Come around. Come around and meet up with it. And there we go. One more time and we'll have this piece finished. We'll do it this way because this is the fastest way. And you see, even with punching it more than one time. Oh, and I was going to say that this, you don't need this kind of a punch. I brought it out to see if it would work better. And there we go. And like I said, they're not all exactly the same because they don't have to be. They're not supposed to be. They're puzzle pieces. And so there we go. And let's see, okay, so here is just, this hole punch is from the Dollar Tree. So, now, and I know that this one always sticks a little bit. The only thing is that this one opens a little wider, so it doesn't quite catch the circle when you're trying to take it off. But this works just as well. You know, like I said, it still catches a little bit, but even the more expensive one that's there, which I actually got in a D-stash, I didn't buy that full price. That one doesn't necessarily work on the Fun Foam any better than that one does. And kind of doing it a little bit fast here, but I just wanted you to see that this one will look just as good. And I think the holes are the same size because I believe that that's a standard size hole punch, you know what I mean? So I think that the holes are standard on that size. There's lots of other ones too, but there we go. So, and these are the ones that I used for that right there. So that is how you can make your own puzzle piece stamps. It's how you can make your own musical stamps. It's how you can make thin line stamps to make shapes. And, you know, you can make pretty much anything you want to make. There's a way to kind of figure it out. The only thing I haven't been able to figure out yet is the background writing, cursive writing stamp. I haven't been able to do that. And although I have things that look kind of like it, they just don't look exactly like cursive writing. I've tried it with string and Fun Foam and all sorts of things. Haven't got it quite exact, but technically I don't need it anyways. It's a background stamp. And so, you know, there's a lot of things you can do to make a background stamp. So there we go. There are some very easy ways to make your own stamps. I actually just picked up this week at the recycle store some puzzle pieces that are not exactly, they're cardboard on the front, you know, or paper to make the picture, but the back side is kind of a foamy thing. So I'm going to try those and see how they work, because they're a little bit of a different, they kind of have square holes and stuff. So I'm going to try those and see if they work for stamps too. So, you know, there's lots of things you can use for stamps other than just Fun Foam, but Fun Foam for me really works well for a lot of the different things that I make. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that if you make yours, that you have a good time doing it and you have a good time using them. Thanks again for stopping by. I really do appreciate you. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.